And we are back with BCIT. Before we start, just going to introduce a few rules that are specifically for BCIT, and just to make sure that we're protecting all things. We, as a city council, are asked not to pursue any specific details of the following. Requesting specific details into the 2019 ransomware attack and its findings. As of right now, Baltimore's ransom attack is still an ongoing federal investigation, and we're limited to they are limited in what they can say. Requesting specific details regarding Baltimore City's IT security, current state or gaps needing remediation, and requesting specific details about the infrastructure, applications, or data vulnerabilities or assessments related to the results from these areas. You can continue.
Good afternoon, Chairman Gray, members of the Ways and Means Committee, members of the Greater Committee, the Greater Council. My name's Layla Lehman. I am the interim CIO as well as the interim director of the Baltimore City Office of Information and Technology. Thank you for the opportunity to present our budget and highlight how we're working to serve the residents.
I'm sorry, can we were muted, so the folks online couldn't hear. So I'll just go ahead and I'll restate it. So sorry. Once again, the rules for this BCIT hearing are as followed. These are the areas that they are asking for us not to cover due to sensitivities and security, data security. So requesting specific details into the 2019 ransomware attack and its findings. As of right now, Baltimore's ransomware attack is still ongoing federal investigation, and we're limited to what we can say. Requesting specific details regarding Baltimore City's IT security current state or gaps needing remediation. And finally, requesting specific details about infrastructure, applications, or data vulnerabilities or assessments related to the results from these areas. So sorry, you can continue.
All right, good afternoon, Chairman Gray, members of the Ways and Means Committee, members of the Council. My name is Layla Lehman. I am the interim CIO for the City of Baltimore, as well as the interim director for the Baltimore City Office of Information and Technology. Thank you for the opportunity to present today both our budget and as well as to highlight the work we're doing to serve the residents of Baltimore. I'm joined here today by members of my team. I will go from front to back. So I've got Chris Harrington, our Director of Fiscal Services, Art Ray, our Director of Public Safety Technology, Tanya Griggs, our Chief of Human Capital, Rob McBride, our Director of Applications, Jackie Crosby, our Director of 311, Kenya Osley, our Director for Broadband and Digital Equity, and Fabian Dorcius, our Legislative Liaison. I want to take a moment to recognize my entire staff and thank them for the dedication to the work that they're doing to support the constituents of Baltimore as well as other agencies. Our mission is to provide sustainable infrastructure and technology to support and enhance city agencies, communities, and businesses to meet city and mayoral goals. This mission, as well as our vision and values, are embedded in our daily work and is how we start each of our staff meetings, as well as presentations, reinforcing our culture of accountability and service. Let me start by recognizing the significant challenges with the launch of the housing permitting system. The challenges that we faced, I just, put it right out there, right? The challenges that we faced and those that do remain today are the result of technology as well as people and process issues. In partnership with the Department of Housing and Community Development, as well as OPI, we're committed to restoring public confidence by tackling these issues head on and continuing to refine the system in real time. We do have a path forward to address the critical issues and are working to restore public confidence. These issues we're encountering are solvable, and we're working to address them. I'm committed to getting this right, and I appreciate your partnership. I am open to the feedback of how we can continue to do better and fix those. And we will also be incorporating that, as the city administrator said, as we're rolling out future systems, the lessons learned from this. So with that, I'm going to go into our slides and start highlighting. Oh, there we go. All right, so these are our service areas. We have 8 service areas. 2 are new to us this year, Service 911 for digital services, as well as 919 for municipal ID. I clicked it, there we go. City Watch is the first service, and this supports the network of over 800 cameras. The general fund covers the maintenance and the monitoring of the cameras, and through ARPA and capital funds, we've been able to get all of the cameras on a refresh cycle, as well as start investing funds into the aging infrastructure that actually supports those cameras. And so with that, I'm proud to share that if you look at from FY22, when we were at 88% of availability, we are now at 98% for this year. Moving on to admin, which is 802, our administrative services division, which has a budget of $5 million, 23 positions across HR, fiscal, project management, change management, and communications. This service will lead the work that we'll be doing on contractor conversions to drive the savings in our FY26 budget. We're focused on growing our talent pipeline. I'm proud to share that we're continuing to invest in our internship program. We had 6 summer interns for FY24, and we will have 15 this upcoming summer. We're also proud, we invest a lot in our staff morale. And so we've conducted engagement pulse surveys for over 5 years now. And we're one of the pilot agencies for DHR's citywide enrollment of engagement pulse surveys through Pecan in Workday. And so on a 1 to 10 scale, 10 being the highest, couple things I just want to highlight. One is that we're proud to share that our employees have expressed exceptional levels of engagement and satisfaction. Overall engagement score of 8.0, which is well above industry and government benchmarks. BCIT stands out for fostering an inclusive environment where employees feel heard, respected, and supported, as shown by scores of 8.9 for management support, 8.4 for fair treatment of all backgrounds, and 9.1 for peer relationships. Our team's strong sense of purpose and achievement is reflected in a highest score of 8.9 for meaningful work. We're also investing in supporting technology skills of employees citywide. So we recognize with Microsoft's constant updates, it leaves employees scrambling to figure out how to keep up with those features, as well as just to learn new ones. So we invested this year in Learn Now, the platform. Hopefully some of you are aware of it. That's bridged the gap by continuously researching new trends and things that are coming out from Microsoft, translating those into live webinars, step-by-step tutorials, and live coaching sessions. The real-time, on-demand support empowers city staff to embrace new features, boosting productivity and fostering a culture of adaptability and continuous learning. Moving on to applications, which is 803. This is the service where you can find GIS and data services, IT service optimization, which constitutes IT services for several agencies, application support and development, including Workday and mainframe. So legacy systems have lacked audit trails, creating security and transparency vulnerabilities. This fragmented systems have also led to operational issues. I want to go back to Comptroller Henry was highlighting earlier this week around the supplier self-service portal in Workday, and now the transparency that can be seen as you can see where an invoice is stuck, and those are advances that are made because of this new system. We need to continue to invest, and we need to continue to improve our use and leverage it better to get more out of it. But we have made great strides. We have automated 20 manual processes in Workday. So to name a few of those, emergency procurement requests and spend authorization submissions, that significantly reduced the processing time and manual errors. We've also enhanced the banking and settlement process, and that's enabled easier reconciliations. And the journal entry process. Users can now create, research, and track journal entries easily. So on the applications front, I also want to share that we accomplished a significant milestone in dealing with outdated and risky software by partnering with DOT, DGS, DPW on the Unifier platform. So that is the enterprise project controls platform for construction management of capital programs. It's integrated with Workday for payments and contracts, and next year we'll expand that to include the Department of Recreation and Parks. Also of note, we partnered with DOT on implementing a custom customer portal for the right-of-way system this year. Moving on to service 804-311. So 311, as of April, has taken over 500,000 calls for city services and non-emergency. We've expanded this service last spring, as you guys know, to e-permits for the Department of Housing and Community Development. For this year, year-to-date, we've had over 41,000 calls. I am excited to share that next week we'll be expanding that call center to manage the plan's examining phone line. In working with OPI to finally resolve closed equals closed, a very exciting step forward for everyone. This clears the path to begin the rollout of additional language options, which we've talked about here before, for the app as well as the website. So Spanish is ready. We are working with the vendor to schedule the release date, and that will be forthcoming. Councilwoman Ramos, it's coming. We needed to resolve closed equals closed, but it's coming. So as you heard from OPI, we'll be partnering to build a public-facing 311 dashboard where residents can check on the status of 311 requests in their neighborhoods. Our community services team is going to be out this summer soliciting resident feedback on that dashboard, as well as providing community workshops to help residents use our services more effectively. So moving on, next service is 805. This is where where infrastructure is. This is where fiber is, information security, that includes computer-aided dispatch as well. And when I say infrastructure, all the people that you may talk to resolve a ticket, right? A lot of that, we have a lot of teams within infrastructure on network, email, servers, the help desk, end user support. This service also is connected to our 2 internal service funds. We've got the computer refresh internal service fund as well as the 800 megahertz one. We received nearly 90,000 IT service requests last year, and you'll note our satisfaction rate for ticket resolution is 95%, and we are on track to reach that again this year. Through ARPA funding, we've been able to deploy 20 hybrid meeting rooms as well as 7 mobile solutions. We also, through ARPA money, were able to catch up on both PC refresh as well as switches, which is part of what keeps our network healthy. And those will continue to help with availability and uptime. Additionally, we're focused on disaster recovery, so updating our plan, implementing the ability to quickly restore our Active Directory, which supports the city's email network in case of a disaster, as well as completing phase 1 of the 800 megahertz redundancy program. So we're continually thinking about how to be more redundant and resilient. We are committed also to strengthening the city's cybersecurity posture. As part of that, we manage the city's cybersecurity awareness program. You may be aware of our phishing tests, all of the trainings, right? One of the notable stats I just wanted to share around that is we've actually already reduced repeat clickers year over year by 73% through that education and through those phishing tests, which is great and makes the city better protected. All right, so next service, broadband and digital equity. So this is an entirely ARPA-funded initiative and service whose goal is to end the digital divide once and for all, and they have made such great strides towards that goal. So I am very proud to share that Baltimore is leading the nation here, and we received the National Digital Inclusion Alliance's Trailblazer Award for the past 3 years, the entire time that the service has been with BCIT. Through multi-million-dollar investments, we've advanced Baltimore's middle-mile fiber network, laying the groundwork for last-mile internet expansion and reinforcing the city's long-term digital infrastructure. This means that we're lowering those barriers to get additional internet service providers to enter Baltimore's broadband market. Through a state grant and a partnership with Enoch Pratt Free Libraries, as well as a host of community partners, over 49,000 Chromebooks have been distributed to Baltimore families. This is now ending the digital divide and the device gap and getting them online to be able to connect to education, employment, healthcare, and civic engagement. This year, we awarded $1.8 million in a second round of digital equity fund grants to 10 organizations, plus $2 million to an organization called Waves to provide free internet to 24 multi-dwelling units. So to date, 33 Baltimore-based organizations have been funded with that Digital Equity Fund since 2023. Supported by ARPA funds, these grants deliver digital literacy, training, and creative tech programs that have helped over 3,000 residents build their digital skills and connect to opportunities. We launched and are maintaining the free Be More Wi-Fi network. So you may have seen it at any of the recreation centers, 46 recreation centers, 9 senior centers, and 2 park pools, averaging over 1,700 daily sessions, providing residents with consistent no-cost internet access where they live, learn, gather. I'm also excited to announce that we have released, finally, the request for proposals to introduce a new internet service provider to Baltimore, who will connect over 4,100 public housing units to fast, affordable internet using the city's existing fiber structure. So by the end of FY2026, all 8 public housing complexes are going to be ready for an ISP to provide them with high-speed internet services under $50 a month. So moving on now, wrapping up with 2 last services. Digital services, again, this one is a new service to us, moved to us from the mayor's office back in the fall. They are entirely ARPA funded staff-wise. They focus on creating user-centered experience for people and entities that interact with the city's digital products. So they make things more friendly for the public to interact with us. We've moved management of the city's website to digital services, so you'll note some general funds that moved to that area. And last but not least, we have our new service of municipal ID, which I'm really excited to share about this investment. So the Scott administration has invested $1.3 million that's going to fund the 6 staff to start this up, as well as the marketing, the equipment, the supplies, the software in order to start this service up. We actually have our director position posted on the city's website now. So we're excited to hire that director. Within the next week, I should have the marketing communications manager job posted as well. And I do have an ask of you as I close out. So the key for this program is that it is marketed as an ID for all, and it's something that everyone wants. So this does not become a second-class ID. And to do that, you need incentives, and you need, therefore, businesses and organizations to provide those. And you'll note one of our metrics here is we have a goal this year of 40 businesses or organizations that will provide incentives or discounts. So my ask of you is to help spread that word, right, and promote that and help us get those businesses and organizations. In closing, I do just want to acknowledge we know we have a lot of work still to do. We know we're not done, and we will keep going, right? So this is an ongoing journey to modernize, secure, and optimize our services for all Baltimoreans, and grateful for your partnership. And I'm going to go sit, and we welcome your questions. Thank you.
Thank you for that presentation, and I'm really excited about the municipal IDs. I think that's going to open up just so much for so many people that are usually in the cracks. So I'm not going to step on Councilwoman Odette Ramos's thing. So I'm just going to go straight into questions and kick it right off to Councilwoman Ramos.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm also excited about municipal ID, and when it was transferred to BCIT, I was very excited about that. And this was an initiative of the mayor several years ago and came up last term that we needed to get it done. So I'm grateful that the priority has been made. And if you've got materials to try to recruit businesses, that would be good. But the main issue there is, being able to get, especially for a lot of our residents that just can't get IDs. This is a big deal. So I'm looking forward to following up on that. Let's talk about permits. It is a disaster of a disaster, and I could use other words that I'm not going to use here. BCIT has a really amazing track record, okay? BCIT has done so many things that we're very confident in, right? I mean, we've got security of our system. The work has been amazing. And so this utter failure is frankly a surprise in terms of the technology part of it, right? So I'm wondering what your role is in this. If BCIT was consulted in the selection of Acela, and I guess the question about what happened is probably a very long conversation. But I am curious in that, and hopefully we can get to the bottom of that at some point. We don't have time today. But then moving forward, what does that look like? We did get a commitment from the city administrator to have a plan of action prior to our next permit office oversight hearing in July, but the issue is immediate. And so I'd be interested, again, in just what BCIT's exact role was in this, and then how we're gonna move forward.
Thank you for the question, and absolutely, like, we recognize this is not to the par of what normally you have experienced, right? So a couple of things. I mentioned when we were talking about 803 IT service optimization. So DHCD was one of the pilot agencies that partnered with us to do IT service optimization, which means that we do their IT for them, right? And, we inherited, therefore, the legacy system that no one, you couldn't write code for it. There was a lot of security concerns, right? And, you can't update it. There were a lot of issues with that, right? So we led the selection process. What our typical model is for that is we identify the top vendors in the space. We do demos for each of them. There is a list of criteria of here are all the things that we need it to meet. And that is something that is done jointly with both the BCIT and whomever the business owner is. In this case, it was DHCD, right? So we met, they were the clear selection winner, right? And we worked hand in hand with the Department of Housing and Community Development through this. I will say the timeline was tight, right? And so we're running up against a very aging system, and with those aging systems, you run the risk of catastrophic failure that you can't come back from, right? And so we went with haste on this, and did not necessarily anticipate all of the things that then came out. I will say, in terms of reflecting on what went wrong, right? I think there are a lot of lessons learned, from all ends around this that we're still learning too, right? Like, the system launched, we were all trying to quickly address and make small changes to keep making it better, right? So, it's not like we haven't been doing things, we have been continually working to fix, but I recognize the large backlog, right, and the issues that people are still facing. So where we are today, we met with each of the areas that, because the system actually touches a whole lot of units within multiple agencies, right? It is multifaceted. And so we have met with each of those units, not just the agencies, to understand what issues they're having, various issues. So we compiled all of those, worked with the Department of Housing and Community Development, because we need them as the SME to advise what are the top things. We got through to that top list. One of the ones, and I know this has come up in the prior hearings, is the over-the-counter permits, right? That's one of the things that is most critically needed. So we are on target to do that by the end of this month. That is not the only thing we're doing. They're basically from that compilation, a list, basically like a top 10 list came out of that. So we are working in parallel. We're not going sequentially one by one, right, to get those out as quickly as possible. I do not have an ETA for all of those at this moment because we're still assessing, but we have a clear path forward with those. With that said, we are also partnering, as you know, OPI has started the Tiger Team, right? So we are meeting with them as well, and, you know, whatever opportunities there are to do this faster, to do this differently, to get it on the right track, we're committed to doing.
Can we get a list of those 10 immediate items that are going to change? I would imagine the message board is also one of them.
It is not. It is
should
not.
be.
That is so. So I do understand the frustration with the message board. We are looking into different ways to solve that one, but it is not on the top 10. I will say I know that the frustration is magnified around that because since there is such a backlog, right? People are trying to get through in any avenue, and now they don't have the net message board, which has made this worse. And I recognize that. So we're trying to figure out how to get that and by when we can do that. But that is not part of the top 10.
Can we, as a committee request, I wanted to get those top 10, those 10 items that you're going to be working through.
Okay.
Yeah, so just to restate it clearly, the request is that BCIT and the Tiger Team and DHCD has come up with the top 10 list of sort of the major things that need to get changed fairly quickly in the permit system. And I'll send a follow-up email.
And if I
as
may
well.
just clarify, so this was something that we worked on, we were already working on with DHCD.
Sure.
So this isn't something that the Tiger Team has necessarily like informed or blessed or that type of thing. So, like they are working.
Thanks for that clarity.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
got it.
They will be coming up with their own, they're in conjunction with us in DHCD plan that will
Right.
include other things as well.
Well, one of the questions I asked the commissioner, and thanks for indulging me, Mr. Chair. Is, at what point did you know that this was going to just be a disaster, and why did we just say, wait a second? I realized that I was one of the ones to pressure getting a new system. I'm totally aware of that. But I've also been one of the ones to pressure to get a Spanish 311.
Yes.
And to get payment plans. And each of those instances, the city administrator has come to me and said, we need more time.
Yeah.
And as long as you need more time to get it done right and there's a reasonable explanation, what can I do, right? That was not the case here.
It's not.
So then if it was going to be this way, and you acknowledge that there were some things that you weren't anticipating,
Absolutely.
why didn't you just take more time?
Right, so the magnitude of the issues was unanticipated, right? I think, and I know Commissioner Kennedy said this as well, could there have been more testing? Absolutely. We were trying to balance the getting off of a system that we don't know when it's going to die, right? And balance that in the background, right? And so we collectively made the decision to move forward, not though realizing that it was going to be what it was, right? We knew that there would be issues. There are going to be issues with the system, but they were not anticipated to what transpired.
But the testing was really important. I mean, I did talk with some developers who were part of the testing group. And so, but I guess there just needed to be more of it. But going on this sort of catastrophic system thing, don't you back everything up? Like, can't you just back up the data? I'm not a tech person, so but there had to be a way to either preserve or back it up.
Right, so I'm going to give it to Rob McBride, our Director of Applications. I think he can provide it probably in better context than I can.
Sure.
Good afternoon. Thank you
Hi.
for the question. Rob McBride, Director of Applications. So the problems grew. So Layla mentioned that this was a magnitude problem. There was a 200% increase in walk-ins, for instance, as this problem started to snowball. And once you make that cutover and you have data in the new system, it's nigh impossible to go back because the data's in a different structure and you don't have the code to export that from that new system. And we had the same conundrum with other large moves, it's, once you move, there's a certain point of no return. And our knowledge about the magnitude of the problem didn't happen until after that point of no return.
Right, but in the old, I guess you weren't thinking about even backing up the old system because you didn't think this would be bad. I got it.
The old system was completely backed up. We still have the data. We're able to reference that data. But once you start making transactions in that new system, it's almost impossible.
I see where you're going. Okay. Yeah. But what about director or interim director, this issue of again, I'm not a tech person, but I had asked for very clearly a couple of years before this all happened, because the initial permit office was a mess, a whole set of workflows, in, out, top down, forward, backward, in English, not in any other language, that this kind of thing that assessment had to happen, which I would imagine you already do in your workflows when you change technology. It doesn't seem like that happened here.
So we go by the workflow structures, right? Like what is known in a system today, and that is translated into the new system. What was realized through this is that some of those workflows, there's multiple things going on, because I don't want to just pinpoint it to this one thing, right? But for example, one thing that was going on were those, the way that things were actually happening and the way it was documented to happen were two different things, right?
Wow.
And so that was one of the things that we encountered afterwards. The other thing that that can come into play with this is we made some decisions around workflows that we actually thought would improve it, right, in partnership with DHCD, of ways to improve it. And some of those, when the system went live, right, did not occur as anticipated, right? They did not have the intended effect. So it wasn't, there were multiple things that kind of went into feeding us. And, we still need to reflect a little more as well, frankly, because we've been very much in the let's correct this and let's continue to work on it. So we also need to take some time to do a little more reflection to fully look at what happened.
Yeah, but the challenge that we're facing here is that we're slowing down everything.
Absolutely. And
the confidence in investing in our city and investing in our strategy around addressing vacant properties is completely gone. And that, you're not the only one. I'll take a little bit of blame too for pressuring everybody to, do something quickly. And DHCD is absolutely the blame, especially if the documented workflows were not actually what was going on.
Again, that was partnership. We were all, we were working hand in hand with. No, we were like this. We worked hand in hand with them.
No, it's bad. It's really bad.
So no, I understand. I do understand that the state we're in, right, has had many ramifications and just it eroded the trust, right? And that is something that is not our normal work product.
Yeah, frankly, I was just surprised.
As you stated, and is something that will not be repeated in the future. And we are, looking to get these corrections in as immediately as possible. So, definitely not the way we want to do this.
Do you need more resources? What needs to happen? Do you need more people? what do you need to fix this?
Right, so we're, as I said, with that top 10, we're currently assessing how to get that done as quickly and effectively, right? Because quickly and then correctly,
I know,
right?
It's a horrible balance.
Is the horrible balance, and is a conversation I was just having again with the team this morning, right? Because it's it's a balance, right? And so we are looking to pull resources, right, to make sure that will help in order to get it sped up. I can't put too many resources on it because too many hands then makes it worse, right? So we We will put the right resources to do that. Excella is also committed and, working to do those resources on their end because we're doing this in concert. And it's a partnership again, because then, DHCD will put the resources on for the testing, right? And the approval of those.
I appreciate your candidness about this, but I can't really understate how bad this is, really.
understand.
So, or understate.
Yeah.
Same thing, in this case. So, I appreciate your talking it through, and I'll follow up with you on the other piece. Thank you, Mr. Chair, for indulging me the time. Thank you.
No worries. At this moment, we're going to have broadband and digital equity. Do you guys have a PowerPoint, or are you just?
So it was already, I'm on.
Everything was all included.
It was already included, yep. You're
Perfect.
good, one presentation.
Well, thank you, BCIT, for coming today. And we are going to be in recess until 5? To 5 o'clock? Until 5. Thank you.